Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live. Talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to lynncullenshow@gmail.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
Hello, welcome to the show. I just had about a 20-minute sneezing attack, so I know I sound a little rougher than usual, a little more nasal than usual, so I'm sorry for how that affects your ears. Well, God, what a dreary, dark Monday. Last Monday in October, folks. Okay. I also have to, just full disclosure, although I shouldn't, this is very unprofessional, but through that, I am really not only sneezing a lot, but I am exhausted. I just want you to know I was up very, very, very early with a insistent dog, and I also had family visiting for the weekend, four-day weekend, and including a 3.5-year-old and a 14-month-old, and I am so unused to that level of energy. Jeez, they're amazing little beings. They're amazing, and what joy to watch them, take on the world and figure it out, and be confused by it, and then delighted by it, and then terrified by it. And it really, it was a great but tiring gift, and for those who don't often get to be in the company of little beings, it is it's just awesome, really. I have to say, I went, I couldn't keep up with them, so they went off on their own quite a bit. But I did go, and I want to underscore this for those of you living in Pittsburgh who failed to take advantage of the wonderful stuff that is here. The aviary is just incredible. I was thinking when I was there this weekend that I have to remember this place. It's sort of like Phipps, in that if you're ever in like a really bad mood, you could go and just sit amidst the beauty. And you could do that at the aviary. There are benches, just sit there with the birds. And I was thinking, you can tell it rests your soul, your mind to be among such natural beauty. And we don't think, I shouldn't say we, I don't know about you, but I don't take advantage of these wonderful venues that we have right in our backyard. And speaking of our backyard, how odd was this? After I got back from the aviary and looking at all those wondrous beings, I heard this just unbelievable bang on my roof. Flat one. So it sounded like something landed big. So what? Then I heard the most blood-curdling kind of shriek. And I thought, that's not a bird, is it? And then I thought, it's not like a human, is it? I could, it's always unsettling when you literally cannot define or place a sound that, when you're in your own home. I felt like a little 3-year-old, being terrified by the world. And I ran to the front, looked around, saw nothing. I ran to the back. The sound, the high pitch happened maybe 4 or 5 times more. And then I saw him, her, it. Good Lord. What appeared to me to be a 10-foot tall hawk sitting on a little wall I have in the back, and he was just humongous, beautiful thing. It had to have been him, all the noise and the thump and the this and the that. And I had no idea, but it was so bizarre after having just been with all those captive, glorious birds, and to come home and have that guy visit. Later determined, we think, I snapped a picture, a red-tailed hawk probably, and not as big as he appeared at that moment to me. But I just want to say thank God for nature, and apologies to it from a Homo sapiens, because we sure do lots of bad stuff. So here we are. That's just by way of introducing you to this sniffly, tired, but appreciative person on this dark Monday. And if you're not a football fan, thank your lucky stars. That's all I have to say. They're unwatchable. It's embarrassing. You can't watch. And the same is true of my other team, the Green Bay Packers. I mean, it's awful when teams that are known for their storied histories of victory and being, just iconic teams fall into the total disarray that they both find themselves in. But that means more time for me to read a book. What I'm thinking. And if you're thinking, I think she's avoiding talking about the news, you are absolutely correct. 100%. Jeez. Guys, I don't know where to start. I'll start in. No matter where you look, it's death. I'll tell you that right now. It's death. Let's start with the death of democracy. It seems, for some reason to me, all of this is so fraught now that, maybe, should we rethink this whole idea? Should we just throw the news out as what we talk about? Should we just come up with something else where we can get together and talk and it won't be this depressing? I'm wondering. Hey, now's as good a time as any to throw something out to you, by the way. It just occurred to me. I don't know if this is smart or not. But there is some possibility that my what would I call it? My alliance with, my partnership with a Pittsburgh City paper could potentially be coming to an end. And if that is true, that means that I would have to sort of figure out how to do this perhaps without them. And I'm thinking, just for starters, because it's something I have to, think about. It's something I've been avoiding thinking about. It's just one more thing. But I sure would appreciate and I don't know if this is stupid of me, if this is old school, but can you just send me your email or some way for me to get in touch with you if I end up someplace else and you'd want to know that? There's no way I'm going, to any I might just hang it up. I don't know. I'm had the matter under advisement, but it seems like a good idea if you would be so kind when you have the chance to send me your email so that I can let you know where I am. Or if any of you are tech savvy, figure out a way to do this in some other way. And or I don't know. You could get me a megaphone. I'll sit on the corner of Forbes and Murray, okay, every morning at 10. I'll just be there. Like, that's one of those intersections that, panhandlers, I think, stake out parts of the corner. But I could maybe grab one, like in front of the library, the parking garage there. I might do that. So that's just, I have no idea. We're trying to figure out. It's because, the fact that City Paper is alive is amazing, because most newspapers, as you know, are struggling mightily. Alternative weeklies like City Paper are dropping like flies and have been for years. And the fact that City Paper is hanging in is really impressive. But they have as small a staff as they've ever had. And doing this show, helping put this show on, is just another thing for this horribly overworked staff to have to do when their main job is to put out a weekly newspaper. So that's part of where the stress is coming, just so you know. But we're just something to figure out. If you were to send me your email, you just send it to Lynn Cullen Show at gmail.com. And I'll, being an idiot, I'll probably make a list on like a yellow legal pad of all of them, because I don't know how to do it online. I realize I am aging out of life. In a lot of ways, you just can't. It's like I can't. I don't know how this works. So, good. Boy, have I managed to waste a lot of time here. No, Tracy, no, the City Paper is not folding. It's just I don't think they can continue to afford to have some of their staff help put this show on. It's a tangential, that's not the word, is it? Tangential thing to their main purpose, which is to put out a weekly newspaper. And there are people that are juggling 20,000 things at once. And that's all it is. So I don't know. We're probably looking to come up with something by the end of the year. Okay. I mean, there's no but I don't quite know what to do. It could be that I could do this myself, but I would not be able to take calls. So or I could just, I don't know. I don't know that we can continue to do the sort of radio talk showy format without having, someone, doing it's another job. I can't do that too. So whatever. But thank you. Boy, they're coming in all right. I appreciate it. Thank you. And I will try to. Okay, so let's just get on with business. I do want to talk about this creepy. I don't know why he creeps me out just looking at him, but this creepy Speaker of the House. There's something creepy about him. And in fact, when you start, as now is happening, you start looking at the trail his statements throughout the years. And creepy is, he not only looks creepy, but he is a creep. And he is a flat out Christian nationalist. He flat out does not believe in the founding fathers' vision of this country. He has decided that somehow we have misinterpreted what the founding fathers intended, that they intended a Christian nation. And you got to wonder, because you have to admit those guys, the founding fathers, were a pretty smart bunch of cookies. I mean, there's some really impressive characters there. And I would imagine that if they had wanted to, create the Christian nation that are now third in line to the presidency thinks that they did, they would have made it a lot more clear. He's absolutely a straight-on, unapologetic Christian nationalist. And let me explain. You cannot be a Christian nationalist and an American patriot at the same time. They don't go together. You cannot be a Christian nationalist and have and live up, I don't think, to the oath you took when you got into the government of these United States. The reality is Christian nationalists do not have an appreciation or love of the democratic values that the founding fathers so radically put forth. No, these Christian nationalists and guys like this creep, Mike Johnson. I feel for all the Mike Johnsons in the world. There must be, how many Mike Johnsons do you think live in the United States of America? I'm just asking. What's the number? It would be huge. I'm asking, is it over? It's definitely tens of thousands, right? Does it get up into even like hundreds of thousands? Mike Johnson probably does. I don't know. We should, it's just something for you to think about, okay? So you start looking at things that this creep has said. We know some of what he's done. We know that he actively attempted to prevent the peaceful transfer of power in the last presidential election. He attempted to subvert the very democratic foundational belief in elections that he who gets the most votes wins, and the other guy says congratulations and goes away. When you refuse to do that, as this creep did, and much of his party did, and to this day refuses to acknowledge that they lost, that Donald Trump lost, that is a betrayal of democracy. So we now have, third in line to the presidency of the United States, a betrayer of our country's foundational principles. And that is scary. As a good Christian nationalist, he is, man, one intolerant fellow. He has not only misread the founding fathers, I believe he has misread Jesus. Now, granted, I'm a Jew. I don't know if I should say that anymore, but I'm a Jew. And far be it from me to know more about Jesus' teaching than this true Christian. But I don't think he's got it right, because there's a mean-spiritedness, an autocratic big daddy-ness that is actually more Old Testament than New Testament. He doesn't just want. Well, you know, if I were a gay person, I would be really unsettled by this guy. Because I'm sure you've seen some of the quotes. I should find one. I mean, he's just flat out believes that gays are, I mean, where is it? Where is it? It's just beyond belief. Like, I can't find it. It's just as well. It's just as well. It is so appalling. Okay, here it is. He is opposed to homosexuality. He says it is inherently unnatural. Any biologist would be glad to tell him that that's bullshit. It's found throughout the natural world. But he also, of course, doesn't believe in science. Oh, does he not believe in science? He, in fact, believes in the literal interpretation of the Bible, so that this guy, third in line to the presidency, doesn't think he knows that the universe that we live in is 6,000 years old. He believes that when Noah built the ark, he gathered two of every being, including dinosaurs. He's third in line to the presidency of the United States. He not only thinks being gay is unnatural, he thinks it's a dangerous lifestyle. So, given his druthers, there would be no protection at all in any federal law for gay people in terms of work discrimination, anything. This is who this guy is. He also would, if he could, make gay marriage illegal. You can bet he's against women's rights. Listen to this quote of his. This one blew me away. This is a good Christian nationalist with, seeing women as one thing only. These are his words, quote, "Every American woman has a duty to birth at least one able-bodied worker." What the fuck? There it is. It's creepy. I started with saying this guy's creepy. That, I know, is beyond creepy, but that definitely fits under the heading, right? Every American woman has a duty to birth at least one able-bodied worker. He believes there is no religion in this country that is more under siege and discriminated against than Christianity. I have a quote here. Christian viewpoints specifically are censored and silenced, he said. He said sometimes hostile interviewers would ask him why he represented only Christians in his work as a lawyer doing religious liberty litigation, never Jews or Muslims. And he said this: I would say, because the fact is very simple, there is not an open effort to silence and censor the viewpoints of other religions. It is only and always the Christian viewpoint that is getting censored. He has linked school shootings to no-fault divorce laws. Don't ask. He says if you want to know what he thinks about anything, just open the Bible. Here's another quote. Experts project, he says, that homosexual marriage is the dark harbinger of chaos and sexual anarchy that could doom even the strongest republic. Third in line to the presidency of the United States, the most powerful Republican office holder right now. I am looking at a picture of him on his friggin' knees in the House chamber praying with a bunch of other Christians in the House chamber. Oh, and there's just one more thing. When I suggested, I think he sort of didn't quite get what Jesus was teaching. He said this, because he is against immigration. You know, I'm thinking, didn't Jesus say a bunch of things about welcoming the stranger and, you know, being, you know, well, my sense of Jesus, but again, I'm a Jew. I don't know. He says his religion drives his hardline immigration stance. Because while Jesus preached personal charity, that commandment was, here's his quote, never directed to the government. So I guess his idea is the government should be as unchristian as hell, as punitive, as discriminatory as necessary to keep out the rabble, which would mean mostly non-Christian, non-white Christians, I suspect. He doesn't believe in the separation of church and state, obviously. Oh, my God in heaven. So, and here's the thing, guys. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. This creep, this anti-American, authoritarian, Christian nationalist creep was unanimously voted into that high office by every Republican in the House of Representatives. There was not a single no vote or abstention. So, not that any of you have pushback. So when I say the Republican Party is, first of all, not a party anymore, it is not in any way an embracer of American democracy. It is a full-on, full-throated, Donald Trump-led white nationalist Christian party. And stop and think for a minute. So this guy makes a big deal about how he's an evangelical, right? God is first in his life. Prayer is constant. He's on his knees all the time. Oh, I hate that. I literally forgot where I was going. See, this is why I should hang it up. Really. Let me backpedal that and see if I run at it again, it'll I'll break through this time. This white I can't. I don't remember what I said. Anyway, frightening. And I hear people still saying, like even here, how anyone could vote for any person who is running for any office under the banner of Republican. I don't care if it's dog catcher. No American who values our democracy should vote for anybody running as a Republican, because that is a party that is now actively working against our democracy. The election coming up here, you slide away and vote, oh, well, but I'm going to vote for Zappala. Oh, well, but I'm going to vote for Rocky. Fine and dandy. Understand that anybody who runs under that banner is aiding and abetting a party that now is hell-bent on destroying our democracy. Oh, I remember what I was going to say. So this Christian creep, the evangelical, imagine that these so-called Christians do the bidding of Donald Trump. It's impossible to get your head around, because there is no more singularly unchristian, repulsive, unreligious, repulsive excuse of a human being than Donald Trump. But they bend the knee to him. Wow. And their heads don't explode. It's amazing. It's amazing. Okay, before I leave the creep, I have one more thing, because I still don't think media is this is ridiculous. You heard about his black son? Have you? You want creepy? I will give you creepy. There are so many holes in this story about his black son. First of all, he does not have a black son. He never adopted. It's sort of like the Blind Side thing. He never adopted a black boy. He says, and has said a million times, that he raised a black son, that he took him in, took custody, I think is what, again, sort of like exactly like Ower and those disgusting people that took him in, took custody of this kid 24 years ago when the child was 14 years old. Now, how old is my child? If you do the math, this does not make any sense at all. It's bullshit. How does a white man take custody? And I think he acts as if he and his wife did, but those numbers don't compute either. He says he took custody of him when he was 25. He, the creep, was 25 years old. You tell me what authority would allow a 25-year-old man to, I'm doing little quote things, take custody of a 14-year-old boy? I'm asking. And when people have talked about his son, this black kid, as if he were his son, as if he were adopted, which he never was, in fact, he says the same thing that Ower's white savior creeps said. They said they didn't formally adopt him because of the lengthy adoption process, which is exactly what this creep says. I've been through a lengthy adoption process. Yeah? So you can keep on keeping on doing your wonderful thing with this boy, whatever it is you're doing. There are no pictures of all the family pictures of this creep. Show him and his lovely blonde wife and their 4 blonde biological children, and there is never a black boy in the family photo, ever. Where are the reporters? He has said his son, who is now 40, lives in California and is a father and is raising children, and he doesn't want any part of the media circuit, and he's asking for his privacy. Okay. There is something so creepy here. Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't Matt Gaetz sort of do the same thing with some little Cuban kid? Am I remembering that right? And there again, a single white Republican creep taking under their wing little boys of color and acting like they are their fathers when they are not. Saying that those boys are their sons when they are not. Oh my God. Oh my God. Little Tony's in agreement. That guy definitely creeps me out as well. I think most of them voted for him before they even knew much about him. Well, no, the fix was in. They were told. You know, there's not a spine in the Republican caucus. There's not a spine. They are invertebrates. Is that what beings without spines are? Invertebrates? Yeah. One of the reasons he was able to, win is because nobody knew much of anything about him. He's a very quiet guy, often to be found on his knees somewhere, trying to figure out what his next Christian policy would be. And Tony's right. They knew how bad it looked to not be able to elect a speaker. So he says, but in fact, this guy that they got makes McCarthy look like, a Trotskyite. Oh, I have to tell you, the Republicans in the House are now fully in the thrall of the crazies and Donald Trump and Gary. We have a caller. Hello.
Hi, Lynn. I'm a recovering evangelical here. I used to be in that like years and years and years ago, and one of the things that like got me out of that was and woke me up out of that whole business was during the Oklahoma City bombing. I was in Bible study with our pastor, and he was like claiming that it wasn't really Timothy McVeigh that did that. It was Muslims, and the media was hiding it all. God. Yeah. And but these guys, they're all about ego. It's like most Christians, you're glad because God has saved you from a life of sin and everything, and you should be doing everything you can to serve Him. But these guys are all about, what can God do for me? How can God reward me more? How can God give me more stuff? How can He give me more blessings? It's all about like me. It's not about serving God. It's just like give me. And that's the root of all this bullshit. And
well, you know what I think? I just want to say, I think too that, you know, they say that God, they then decide what God is telling. You know, they always say God is, you know, chose me, or God, I am, you know. And this creep said something like that. He said something like, God has ordained and brought us to this specific moment. So I am God's right-hand man here, chosen. And
that's like the most egotistical thing you could probably say. I mean, my goodness. True. It's just amazing, like how much ego is involved in all of this business. It's sad. And if you actually ever read an entire New Testament, you would realize that it's not out there for you to use to condemn others and everything. It's for you. It's a self-improvement manual, pretty much. It's how you can live a more Christian type life, not how you should lord it over to everybody. And it disgusts me the way some of these Christians are these days. And I think it's more wrapped up in nationalism than anything else. It really is. I mean, when this new guy said that it's the duty of every American woman to have a baby, that kind of smacks of Nazi Germany right there, and like Hitler's view of women, how they should be.
Well, they didn't say baby. He said should birth an able-bodied worker.
Yeah. It's just, that's like straight out of Nazi Germany right there. I mean, I've been reading up on it a little bit, and it's, and we're, God. I mean, we've got a nationalist movement here. It's disgusting, and they need to be stomped on. We need to stomp on them. We need to go to the polls and vote these people out and start putting in like more reasonable leaders in our government that aren't like religious nut jobs, or are nut jobs hiding behind a religion, I should say, because that's what they're doing. Because if they actually read a Bible, half the shit that they say and do, they realize that it's not biblically based. So, and I also wanted to say last week that guy that was like getting on you about putting people in boxes. My partner and I'm non-binary. My partner is a trans man, and we've been getting a lot of flack lately, as you probably. Oh yeah. So we can relate to like what you're dealing with a little bit. Sure, but we're also liberals. We're liberals, and we don't agree with like what he was saying. I mean, there's a lot of blame to can be put on both sides. Yep. And frankly, both of us, we feel for the people, the common people on either side, the people, the Palestinians that are getting killed, the Israelis that are getting killed, and their governments and terrorist organizations that got them both in the middle of this. That's the people we care about. That's people we're concerned about. We need peace. We need peace in that part of the world, and neither side seems to want to achieve that or to even bother trying to achieve that. And we need it now more than ever.
They're blinded at this point by hate, revenge, and it just I don't know. I just don't know. But thank you for all of that. I really appreciate your call. I do.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Yep. Bye. See you later. Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, from what you described of your personal reality, yeah, you wouldn't do too well under a Christian nationalist government. I don't think. For that matter, you wouldn't do too well under a Hamas government either. Oh, dear God in heaven. I think Mary has said it all. She says if you put that quote, I'm not sure which, you're talking about the woman should bear able, but I don't know. Said if you put that quote on a T-shirt and sell it at like the Pride Fest, you could fund your show indefinitely. See, now there's somebody thinking outside the box. To make a lot of money, huh? Thank you for that. Okay, since the caller sort of got us into the Middle East, that is the other part. I just, again, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I am feeling. I don't want to say frightened, but I'm getting there because I see, and you probably have seen too. I mean, they're hunting Jews around the world. The videos from that airport in southern Russia made my blood run cold. If you haven't seen it, apparently the good people of that city I never heard of were told that a plane was landing at their airport from Tel Aviv. And man, a mob, hundreds, all men, young men, with dying to rip Jews apart. They were, have you seen the video? They were all over the airport. They got out onto the tarmac. They were surrounding planes. They were trying, and there's also a video from inside a plane where the passengers are told, do not take your seats. There's people out there that want to kill you. Now here is also they were grabbing people in the airport, demanding to see passports. They were looking for Jews. And God, if I was thinking, because I'm a Jew, I was thinking, what if you were there? I would have been ripped, literally. I could see the need to kill. And I, grew up, obviously, listening to stories about the pogroms where Jews were hunted and slaughtered. And in Russia, that's where my folks ran from. And I didn't think I'd ever see one live on my TV. And you know what else I saw? I saw just looked like a few million people in London marching. And a lot of them were carrying I still can't believe it. One of the things they were doing was loving the fact that dead Jewish babies. So because they had, I suppose, dolls that were wrapped in white with blood on them. And they were at one point with a Palestinian flag. They were, you know how you like a bouncy thing where they were throwing the bleeding babies up in the air with a Palestinian flag and loving it. They were, listen, so I'm telling you, I thought, wow, look, it's this quick. This is how quickly it can happen. Cornell University right now, the Jewish Center there is under guard, in lockdown. The Jewish kids on campus are fearful. There are messages going up to literally kill the Jews on campus. I ain't making this up. And and all this while we just on Friday marked the 5th anniversary of the Jew slaughter here on Wilkins. So when I have to tell you, I'm watching this with I wish I could say in disbelief. I mean, but it's hard to realize that no matter what, this Jew hate, just permeates. The Chinese are going berserk with Jew hate right now. And their social media is very much controlled. And what's going on there and all the tropes, how Jews control the world. Jews control the evil US. Jews control all this. And you know what I can't understand is these people who think the Jews are that powerful. If they're so fucking powerful, then how do they keep getting themselves killed? And I wonder if the folks who refuse to see Jews as a marginalized or oppressed people, I wonder if those people who, with their little boxes, how many dead Jews, how many scenes from that airport or from London and all over the college campuses, how much of that do they need to see to say, I saw that the comedian Jim Gaffigan tweeted something out saying, any of the rest of you realizing that your Jewish friends maybe weren't paranoid? That it's true? David Simon, the brilliant guy behind The Wire, that show about Baltimore, and he did this because he was looking at the airport thing. Whoa, apparently there's always time in Russia for a good old pogrom. Kishinev, 1903, Odessa, 1905. Today, I want to give a whispered thank you to the memory of my grandfather, who got on the boat out of that backward shithole country as Jewish bodies adorned the streets. A century changes nothing. Right. But all people want is for the Jews to shut the F up. That's what I always thought. No, now they really want F up. Wow. But it's just, no, we're just against Israel, right? That's why the kids at Cornell, the Jewish kids, are hiding under their bed right now. Milton writes, the whole Black Sun story to me sounds like a parallel of the Steven Tyler, that's the Aerosmith frontman, Steven Tyler, Julia Holcomb adoption. I'm not aware of this. Tyler, at the age of 27, was granted legal custody of a, oh yes, I do know the story, was granted legal custody of a 16-year-old fan, oh my God, who'd attended one of his concerts in Portland. This was a girl, right? A fan, a groupie. And I believe, didn't her parents sign off on it somehow? Essentially, so that he and Julia could carry out their illicit affair while the band was touring and traveling across the country and not get into trouble with child protection authorities or sex trafficking. You're going across state lines. He's 27, she's 16. You're right. I do remember this story now. The fact that there are no photos of this person, this is the black kid of Johnson, the creep, with his actual family, informs me that Johnson, at minimum, perceives this person on a level that is not equal to his actual sons, his actual family. There's something definitely amiss about this whole situation. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, and here again, the New York Times today did a story on it that raises more questions than answers and seems extraordinarily credulous. The headline is Black Sun Helped Shape Race Views, Johnson says. He uses this, but he understands the suffering of Black people because he trots out the black kid. When he was testifying against a bill for slavery reparations, he trots out, my black son doesn't want reparations. He wants to see himself as somebody capable of standing on it. I'm not kidding. For the New York Times to do, this is somewhat akin to the Israelis, kill 500 in hospital, targeting a hospital or something. They had a headline, something like that. When the hospital was never hit, it was not the Israelis, and the death toll they believe in the parking lot outside was maybe at most 100. But the New York Times is really full of a lot of shit. So I would think it would be interesting to see more information. And this poor guy, this poor black man now, whose path crossed the creeps and was taken in by him in whatever guise, he will be found and outed, and I feel for him. Yeah, at Cornell, and then I'll get out of here. They have a message board that's run the Cornell Discussion Forum, where students, Jews are being called rats and excrement to be eliminated. There are threats and calls to kill Jews. Campus police at Cornell were guarding the University Center for Jewish Living after posts threatening violence against Jewish students, threats to shoot Jewish students, and encouragement to others to kill them. Yeah. But Jews are not be considered anything but white oppressors. So let's just make clear. Okay? Those Jewish kids at Cornell, they're oppressors. I don't care if they're hiding under their beds. That's it for me, guys. Send me your emails. I don't know what I'm going to do with them, but I might need them at some point later if, we have to take the show somewhere else. I don't know. Okay? So thank you. Have a good day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.